Is 2019 the year of rage? Let's find out. What's up, guys? It's Mr. Dean, Streets of Rage Online, Brawls Avenue. You know the deal. Another podcast episode. We're going to talk about the recap of 2018, as well as going forward into 2019. Now, starting off, typically I don't really celebrate New Year's around this time. I usually celebrate around the spring, but I do like to take this time to plan out things and recap on everything that we've pretty much done over the past few months as well. So starting off, we're going to be talking about the Deathless Mania run that Anthropants did, as well as Sega Fan Jam, the Mania Challenge, Streets of Rage Mania itself, projects coming up next year, as well as Streets of Rage 4, of course. Of course, we got to talk Streets of Rage 4, and plans for the website coming up. Starting off, recapping with 2018, it was a pretty eventful year. It was a pretty eventful year for Streets of Rage. We've done a lot of things, accomplished a lot of stuff as a community, as well as Streets of Rage 4 itself being announced. As I said before, Antho did secure the Deathless in Streets of Rage 2 Mania. But also in this very same year, he did 9 pluses with all 4 characters, 1 credit runs with everybody, as well as, just doing everything that you could possibly do with Mania so far. He's been working on getting the Deathless with Max, so that's probably going to be a 2019 thing. I mean, we're pretty much in 2019 already, unless he got it and I missed it, I don't know. But that was a pretty exciting thing. We also have quite a few other Twitch streamers and stuff that are doing a lot of Streets of Rage games. I want to give a shout out to all of them. Izumi, SM Izumi, Gale Dog, E.T. Go Ham. I haven't seen E.T. Go Ham post in a while, but he was doing a lot of Streets of Rage runs. Konichiwa, E-Signal, we've got a huge list of them. Sorry, guys. Professor Iopa, or King Iopa. I think he's going by King Iopa now. There's a ton of lists. I am going to put you guys on a page for the website I'll get into it. I'll get into it in a moment. But shout out to all those guys. Shout out to all you guys for streaming Streets of Rage throughout the year. Sprint God as well. Sprint God's another one. But shout out to all you guys for streaming, all you content creators that have been creating content for Streets of Rage. You guys have contributed to making Streets of Rage what it is as far as popularity goes amongst the brawler community. So I do want to thank you guys. I want to thank everybody in the Discord community, everybody on Facebook, everybody on Twitter, as well as everywhere else. As I said before, this community would not be where it is without you guys. So thank you for that. Thank you for putting in all that time to make beat 'em ups great again, as Moonbot would probably say. A lot of stuff happened to 2018. Like I said, we went to Sega Fan Jam. We had the Streets of Rage 2 Mania Challenge, in which a handful of people played Mania for the first time. Whether they had played Streets of Rage 2 before or just never played Streets of Rage at all. This was their first time playing Mania. That was a pretty fun challenge. I'm going to be uploading videos for that onto YouTube at some point. We also had T Lopes and Some Call Me Johnny play a co-op run during the stream, which was really awesome. I gotta put that one up as well. Thank you, T Lopes and Some Call Me Johnny, for participating in that, for playing the Streets of Rage Mania build as well. It was nice meeting you guys. It was nice meeting everybody at Sega Fan Jam. Unfortunately, that seems to is going to be the last Sega Fan Jam. Maybe for a while. I don't see it not being a thing in the future, but at the moment it is the last Sega Fan Jam. But that was fun. It was really fun going out there and enjoying myself and doing that panel for Streets of Rage. I'm going to be uploading the panel for that as well. So there's two things that happened in 2018. A lot of stuff with Streets of Rage 2's Mania mode. And then, of course, Sega Fan Jam itself. Another thing that happened in 2018, I uploaded my trailer for Streets of Rage Mania and demoed the project over at Sega Fan Jam, which was also really fun. Everybody seemed to like it so far. That project's been years in the making, so I was happy to finally get some people get some hands on. Going into 2019, I am looking to hopefully get a full demo out with the first 3 characters playable. That's why the demo hasn't been released yet, guys, because I'm actually working on Adam and Plays right now, like as we were speaking. And I'm also working on the first round of goons and bosses. So we're talking Antonio, Garcia, Donovan. I'm going to be reworking Y Signal. Actually, the version of Donnie that is part of that particular stage isn't Donovan, but rather a different name, the goon entirely. I'm probably going to call him Clyde or something. I don't know. He's based off the beta version of Garcia from Bare Knuckle 1. So that's happening. You guys will be getting a demo of that. Another thing, of course, we all know what happened in 2018. Streets of Rage 4 was announced in August. We've been getting some tidbits of info here and there from them since. And more recently, they just released some screenshots as well as gameplay footage. The gameplay footage is in a quick little GIF that they did, but I will be going into in depth on that and talking about that in this podcast as well. There's a lot of details that I feel were kind of missed, that a lot of people probably didn't notice in the screenshots and stuff. And we actually got quite a bit of a reveal from those screenshots. So look forward to that as well. 2018 also, we've seen a lot of merchandise happening for Streets of Rage. We have the Streets of Rage shop on the Sega shop site. Insert Coins came out with the T-shirt at the time, as well as some other things that popped up. The figures came out. This year as well. Speaking on that, of course, if you guys had pre-ordered the figures, like I said, we didn't get them, so I am going to be working on getting you guys a refund as well. So we'll just have to take that a step at a time. It's been pretty tough. It's been tough considering how 2018 went. But, that's, I guess, just one little hurdle that we have to try to get over now. Going into 2019, we have a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. Right now, I'm working pretty hard on finishing the website. I want to finish it. I want to finish it as soon as possible, but I just, I can only do so much in the little time that I have. But my plans for the site, of course, as usual, is to finish up the sections for the original trilogy, as well as Streets of Rage 4, with more screens and stuff like that. I'm revamping how everything is set up on these categories. For one, the introduction page has screenshots and screenshots of the game, introduction of like what happened with the game and how it was created and all that stuff like that. Production credits. And then of course under that there's like versions that shows you different versions of the game with those individual screenshots and stuff like that. And then of course I have a review page where I do my personal review on the game. Right now I'm working on my review of Streets of Rage 1. And there's also going to be other sections like tips and tricks, in-depth move sets, in-depth move lists for the characters, let you know how each move works and how effective they are against certain things and stuff like that. So I'm working on stuff like that, working on little tutorials and stuff that I want to do for the site and the YouTube page and whatnot. And that's going to be for each section of the game. So when Streets of Rage 4 comes out, you're probably going to be seeing some new like stuff pop up on that section a lot. Like you're going to be seeing like different probably combo videos and stuff like that. So that's stuff that's come down the pipeline as well. And then of course we got the mods of the original games, the Streets of Rage Maker mods, the Open Beats of Rage mods, the various fan games out there that are going to be put up on the site as well. And we are also working on a shop. We have quite a few things from the Streets of Rage Sega shop and stuff like that that we want to put on the site and have at everyone, because I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but the Sega shop out in the UK has certain items that the US shop doesn't have. So we'd be glad to import those things for people that want them. So we're working on that. And as far as like downloads and stuff goes, I am actually working on a system for Brawlers Avenue using my Dropbox so that people can get direct downloads. But I am going to link it to the Patreon. There's going to be a tier for the Patreon that gives you access to all the downloads. That includes any updated files, anything that's updated, anything that's placed on there. You will get notification whenever a file is updated. You will get all kinds of stuff to let you know that a file you downloaded has been updated, that there's a different version of something. So like if there's a new version of a mod, like a patch or something like that, it will be right there for you to download immediately. No ads, no redirecting you to sites, no crappy mirrors. It's coming straight directly from the site. And I'm doing this so that I can cover the cost of the site as well. I imagine people want to be able to access these downloads all the time without having to search for them. And yeah, we're going to be offering a lot of content on the site, on both Brawlers Avenue and Streets of Rage Online when those sites are finished. And it's gonna cost us. So it's not one of those things where we're trying to make money off of this. It's more just trying to cover the cost of the site itself. So if you guys want to support, then again, I don't hit up my Patreon yet because I still have to set all this stuff up. I don't want to have you guys like hitting up my Patreon or anything like that when I don't have stuff set up. So wait until I actually make the announcement and stuff about it. I'm also going to be having Patreon exclusive content too for Brawlers Avenue and Streets of Rage Online, in regards to probably like in-depth videos and stuff like that. The podcast is still going to be public and stuff. You're probably going to get access to the podcast earlier. I'll think on that. Honestly, I want the podcast to just be on the site, as well as regular raw gameplay and stuff. But there will be stuff for people who support the site. Like I want to give back as much as I can to anybody showing support to the site. So there will be tiers and stuff like that as well. You guys will get access to Q&A whenever we do Q&A podcasts, like live podcasts and stuff like that. So you guys will get access to that as well. And then of course giveaways as well. Whenever we do giveaways, you will be put into the entry for giveaways and stuff. I don't think I'm going to be doing any more giveaways on Twitter, to be honest with you. Mainly because, as I said before, like I'm already falling behind trying to get some stuff shipped out to people who have already won and participated and stuff, and it's getting pretty bad. So that I will be offering all that through Brawls Avenue and Street to Rage Online, as well as stuff like, you know, we got a lot of stuff down in pipeline that we just been working on all throughout the year, and just haven't had a chance to put it up yet. So lots of stuff planned for the site. The site is up, by the way, guys. The link to the site is up. It's just not finished. You know, that's why I don't post it. I don't post the link around and stuff like that, because the site's not finished, and I'd rather the site be finished, or I should say close to completion, before I post it. Because to be honest with you, the site's never actually finished. You know, there's always going to be something I have to upload to the site. There's content. There's always news. There's always something I have to upload to the site. It's a constant string of things. This is why this site is so tough to manage, because you would think, I mean, Street to Rage not even being around, you know, but no, every time I turn around, somebody's submitting something. There's a new remix. There's a new mod of the original games. There's some new Streets of Rage Maker mod. There's some new thing that somebody's doing with Streets of Rage, some new video or something. Every time I turn around, there's new content. There's always new content. I'm just constantly trying to catch up with what I already have put on the site, on top of whatever pops up. And then, of course, you know, like I said before, you know, you got all the other Twitch streamers and stuff that post stuff, and you know, they ask me about putting stuff on the site as well. So it's a lot. There's a lot of stuff to keep up with, and to be honest with you, like if I can actually get to a point where I have a good set of patrons on Patreon, I can dedicate a lot more time to getting that stuff done. But right now, it's just like I'm juggling between, like, you know, work and life and getting all this stuff done, you know. We're rolling off of that. More stuff that's coming down the pipeline in 2019. Of course, PAX South is coming up very soon. It's on the 18th. We're talking like 2.5 weeks away from PAX South. We're going to be in hands on the Streets of Rage 4. I think it's the PAX East build. I don't think this is a newer build, but it is the build from PAX East. If I remember correctly, we're going to be in hands-on and play that. So I will be doing a video speaking on my thoughts and you know, everything that I can talk about from that build stuff. So look forward to that. We will have even more. And I'm pretty sure by the time PAX even comes around, the team's probably going to drop some more information anyway. But do expect to hear, like, you know, I will, like I said, I will give you thumbs up if I feel the game's really good. I don't have any doubt in my mind, honestly, after seeing the recent screens and gameplay. I don't actually have a doubt in my mind. It's just going to be a good game. Because, you know, is it going to top the originals? That's the real question. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Kaj Natalie is back, by the way. Another thing that's coming down the pipeline 2019 is she's back on the Street Rage Maker scene. So do look forward to some updates to her mods. The Streets of Rage 1 collection mod she plans to do an ultimate version of. I'm going to try and help as much as I possibly can with that mod as well. I'm working on some stuff, some graphic stuff for that. I believe Don Vector will be back as well this January, and I think he's going to be working on Hunter 2, as well as working with Kaj on her mods and stuff. So team is coming back. You know, we're going to be seeing some really awesome stuff down the pipeline. I'm going to be playing a lot of mods, hopefully soon. Hopefully I get some free time after PAX to get some hands-on and play some mods and stuff like that. So that's what I have planned down the line. A lot of playthroughs that I need to catch up on. Streets of Rage Mania, I'm working on that as well, as I mentioned already. You know, I'm doing some stuff with that. Hopefully Hopefully we get a demo this year. I'm not gonna project and say that I'm gonna release a demo. I'm just gonna say it's a possibility. It may or may not happen, but I am working on it. Just know that much, and you will very likely see at least a video or two on it, if nothing else. Of course, as far as Streets of Rage 4 goes, like I said, we don't have a release date yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be this year. I'm assuming the game's coming out this year, so we are going to be looking at that pretty soon, hopefully. Hopefully we get a release date soon. I just want a release date. I want to know what platforms it's going to be on so I can grab them all, because you know I'm grabbing them all. Man, so what else we got? No, that's it. That's pretty much it for Streets of Rage news so far. Well, our next segment, we're gonna go into talking about the screenshots and gameplay that that Dotemu posted on Twitter, and I believe it was through IGN as well. So we're gonna go into that, and we'll wrap up the podcast there. See you in a bit. But rolling into Streets of Rage 4, we have gotten some new screens from Dotemu recently to kick off 2019 with, as well as some gameplay. And we're gonna have a look at that, and I'm gonna talk about like some details that you may have missed within that within those screenshots. So yeah, let's just jump into it, because PAX is just a few weeks away. We're gonna be getting some hands-on behind closed doors. Myself and Anthopants are gonna be up there. The event is the 18th to the 20th. Now, this is not a public build, by the way, guys. This is a private build. So if you guys are going to PAX, if you're already going to PAX, I would suggest you contact Dotemu and ask them about it. You know, ask them if you could possibly play the build going up there. But do not go out there. Do not go out there to specifically to play the build if you haven't talked to them and they haven't told you that you're, because it's a private build. It's not public. But let's get into these screenshots, because man, we got some stuff revealed that I am very happy about. I'm very happy about, and I want to talk about them. Okay, so this very first screenshot that we're looking at here is Axel and Blaze in action, of course. This looks to be the same first stage, I believe. I believe this is the first street stage. Looks like it goes into an underpass. They're fighting outside a boxing store. Looks pretty nice. Is that like a little call out to Adam? I don't know. But I actually wanted to talk about like all the details in this stuff that people probably have not been paying attention to when it comes down to everything that's going on in the action and whatever. First off, the lighting in this game looks amazing to me. It looks very, very, very amazing. You can definitely see that they're putting in a lot of effort when it comes down to the actual look and feel of the game visually. And again, of course, I know some people aren't really happy with the art style. The art style is not their cup of tea. I get it. You know, I understand that maybe it's too cartoony for some and whatnot. To me, honestly, like as I said before, you know, none of the games have a consistent style to them. So to me, this is just a brand new style within that trilogy and just keeping things fresh. However, you cannot deny the detail and stuff that they are putting into the visuals, like the animation. Look at the reflection of the puddle under Axel's feet, for example, and you know all the different lighting aspects and you'll see in some other screenshots as well as the gameplay itself that there's a lot of like layers. There's a lot of layers to the levels and stuff. Like it just looks beautiful, man. But I wanted to zoom in here. I want to zoom in here for a bit. Let's see. But zooming in here for a bit, we see that Blaze has a. This isn't. I don't think it's a new attack. I'm thinking that this is confirmation that we do have grapples. Now, of course, I think it's more of a kind of a, well, no duh, we have grapples. Why would they not have grapples in Streets of Rage? But you never know. You know, people were worried about stuff being missing for Streets of Rage. I think this is one of her grapple attacks. If I were to guess, this is actually her neutral grapple being changed into. It looks like she, with her hands being closed-handed fist, it looks like she just punched him into the ground. Her original neutral was her slamming him into the ground. So maybe this is the case here. Maybe she's just punching him really hard into the ground, and that's her neutral now. But either way, I think that this is her grappling attack. Now this is like I said, it's one of those small details you probably wouldn't even notice at a glance. But yeah, notice that she's pretty much slamming him into the ground. Now, in Streets of Fury, when you slam somebody into the ground, they bounce off of the ground. So I don't know if they have ground bounce here, but it would be pretty cool if you can combo off of this. But that's one of the smaller details that we're looking at here. Of course, we have Axel here doing his grand upper. I like the design of the grand upper here. I like the little twists in his in the flame, like the twisting flame here. I also just noticed that little gumball machine in front of the store. Looks pretty nice. But yeah, Axel's giving Garcia here a good old grand upper. His stance and pose looks really great here. I do like it. Looking more and more, like I said, looking more and more at this style, like I really like it. It's the characters are very like colorful in comparison to like the backgrounds and the stages and stuff like that. And pretty much speaking of the background and everything, like I said, this is an underpass. It looks like part of the stage, and I'm still thinking that this is the first street stage, if there's anything to go off of. Now, this isn't like a rehash, but more so a callback to the standard street stages. Like this is its own street stage. But we're looking at a lot of terrain being destroyed, and some new shops and stuff, and then of course we got the heaven sign here. From Streets of Rage 2, as well as some other things. Now, the goons that we're fighting, that being fought here, are Garcia, Raven, and Signal. Now, I'm thinking Raven is only here because of testing purposes. I think they've pretty much been just testing the enemies around and stuff like that. I don't think that Raven's going to be here this early in the game. That's just my thought. But actually, and that's another thing I actually wanted to go into though. My only gripe so far with the visuals of this game, because to be honest with you, like I liked the style when I saw it. As I said before on Twitter, even though I'm spoiled by like pixels and stuff like that, I actually do like this style. And another thing that I had mentioned is that had this game been announced back in the early 2000s and stuff, I would have lost my collective mind. Almost dropped the F-bomb there. I would have lost my collective mind if this game had been announced back in early 2000, because back then we really wanted like hand-drawn graphics. We wanted to see more of Guardian Hero style stuff. We weren't like really spoiled with stuff like Sonic Mania, and where we seen pixels, pixel art actually being utilized properly and like being utilized in such a modern sense. We didn't see all that stuff. We actually really legitimately wanted to see some more hand-drawn stuff. So to be honest with you, like I'm happy with this art style. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm happy with it, honestly. It's just it's definitely something that takes me back to my hopes as a kid. But yeah, going into like what my gripe was as far as the visuals go is the fact that like and we're not talking about Garcia because I think Garcia is actually properly like modernized, but looking at Raven and Signal and Nora and Big Ben, a lot of these enemies kind of stick out like a sore thumb compared to like everything else. Like everything else looks like it's current time. I know people make fun of Axel's design saying he looks like a bum and stuff, but even Axel, like as weird as it is that he's wearing like two different overshirts, like that kind of stuff is stuff you would see in our time, like in our present time. Blaze looks a lot more modernized, just with small little details. Same with Garcia. Garcia is not wearing knee pads and stuff that you would see on the typical 90s type of goon. He actually has patches over his knees and stuff showing his like, yeah, his pants are old and torn up and stuff. And he has like a if I'm looking at it correctly, he has a hoodie, or he has a hood on his vest and stuff. And his hair is a little bit more slicker. It's not like in a pompadour or anything like that. But when you look at like Signal, Signal's design is pretty 90s. Raven's design is pretty 90s. You get to just questioning things like if this is current time, if this is 10 years later. For one, these guys are still alive. But for two, like, why is Raven, for example, walking around in Muay Thai gear? You would think he'd be in street clothes or something like that. Just that's just my only gripe, is that it just feels like it kind of takes away from the identity of Streets of Rage 4. Because if there's one thing that has been consistent without the series, is that each game has its own visual style, its own musical style, its own gameplay, and it seems like we're getting that with 4. We're getting its own visual identity, its own gameplay identity, and character designs and stuff. And I think that the enemies should follow suit as well. But let's roll into the next screen. Okay, so this next screen is I believe this is like some kind of Asia town. I would just go Asia town because it looks like there's a mixture of different Asian cultures here in this level. Now we've seen this level already. We've seen a screen of this level, but this is probably like a scroll further than where the other screenshot was. And of course we see Axel here punching Nora directly in the face. Screw political correctness. Not much to say here that wasn't already conveyed in the other screenshot of this stage. We see a cart over there. I kind of wonder if it's destructible. Same with these boxes. I kind of hope they're not just there, because it looks like you can walk in that area where the boxes are. I'm pretty sure you can definitely walk where that cart is. So, my thought process is that those are going to be destructible objects. Now, the only thing that worries me there is that looking at them, look at the shading of like the boxes in the front. It looks like it's not something that's going to be interactable. Usually, when you have something that you can interact with, it pops out a lot more. The boxes seem like they kind of blend back in with the rest of the stage. The cart, on the other hand, actually looks like it does pop out, and it is going to be like destructible or something like that. Now you'll notice that there's more people sitting in the back as well. Now I'm not a big fan of this, to be honest with you, because the thing is, it doesn't convey that we're fighting in the streets here. You got these guys sitting in the back here, just kind of chilling. I guess this guy's ordering chicken or something or whatever, and he's just eating like it's just a normal thing. Now this is fine in like fighting games, because in a fighting game you get the sense that this is a tournament. So when somebody's sitting in the background eating or whatever, it's like there's not a sense of intensity, outside of like whatever happens between the two fighters. or something being extreme or whatever. Like it's a tournament setting, but this is like we're talking in beat 'em ups. Usually, this is a situation where it's like, okay, you're seeing a bunch of guys try to beat up on one or two people here. We have like a full out gang brawl here, and people sitting in the back just kind of chilling is a little weird, But that's just neither here or there. That could be something that's just completely like not even a thing when the game's in motion. For all we know, the moment you get there, that guy could run off or something. You never know. But there's a lot of details in these backgrounds. I'm trying to recall the name of the artist. I'm trying to recall the name of the artist. I'm really sorry if I don't get it by the end of the video, guys. I apologize. But I'm trying to recall the name of the artist. But that guy, he's doing great work with these stages. Again, going into what I talked about with the enemy designs, Nora is probably the biggest culprit here because she is so 90s. It hurts how 90s like her design is. And granted, I'm not crazy and expecting like, oh, they're gonna redraw these enemies from scratch to appease me. It's like no, it's just something that I wanted to point out as far as like the game's identity. Like I really feel like the game would have more of its own identity if the enemies were modernized a bit. And it doesn't have to be like huge. Like I said before, Garcia is a perfect take, I would say, on a modern design for that. Because like I said, it just does little subtle things that changes, like stuff that you would actually see him wear now. He's wearing the same things he would have wore in the 90s, but nobody's going around wearing knee pads and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that the patches on the pants is a detail where it's just like, okay, well, that makes more sense than the knee pads, and then of course, like I said, him having a hoodie instead of just a standard jean jacket or whatever. He's not a greaser from the 60s. It would be the same case here with Nora. I think they should have done something a little bit more like maybe an escort type of ordeal with her or something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of knowledge on dominatrixes. I mean, obviously, I'm not into that kind of thing, so I don't know what they would look like, nowadays. But I assume they don't look like Nora. Like Nora's pretty 90s-esque. And the thing that kind of bothered me about Nora more is that she's missing her badass shoulder pads. So it's just like, man, you guys went back and used her design, but didn't add the shoulder pads. But that's even more 90s. So it's like, yeah, that just would have made the 90s thing even worse on her part. But still, they're badass. They have spikes on them. I mean, rolling into the next screenshot. Now, I love this screenshot because this right here, this is yet another. This is something I'm very happy with. By the way, guys, outside of the art style, it's looking great to me. We're just getting new stages left to right. Like there's none of this. They're trying to recap, and you see this updated Dreamer stage or what? No, we're getting brand new stages here, and I'm very happy about that. Matter of fact, oh man, speaking of like the Dreamer Park though, look at that column here. Matter of fact, I'm gonna zoom in on that. Right now. Does this column look familiar to you guys? This lit up column? Because it should. This, if I remember correctly, was on the Dreamer stage, actually. Speaking of the Dreamer stage, this was there. So we could be looking at like fighting on the outskirts of the park or something, for all we know. But from what I'm seeing here, this is a docks stage. So I'm really happy to see that. We see the police car in the background here, which is another thing. There's another thing regarding that I'm going to go into in the next screen. You guys already know if you've seen them. Um, again, another thing about enemies being tested. We got two different Garcias here. One seems to be using the BT palette from 2, updated a bit. Blue hair, dark skin, yellow clothing. I believe that's BT if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's BT. We also see here though that Blaze seems to be doing her sweeping move, and I don't know if I'm not sure if this is like the back end of this, or if she has, because if this is if their gameplay is closely based on Streets of Rage 2, I'm gonna assume that she actually hits forward and back with her back attack. So this could be her front sweep going into a back sweep, for all we know. Or this could be just a regular, she could have been facing Axel and just doing the back sweep here. But either way, it's a back sweep. We see back attacks are there, so that's a confirmation that we are getting back attacks. Unless, this is a crouch move. I highly doubt it's a crouch move, but that's the only other assumption I can make as far as like what she's doing here. In fact, we'll zoom in. We'll zoom in a bit. Yeah. It looks to be her sweep. So yeah. Now I guess the main draw with these screenshots though is going to be the stages. Now again, going into lighting again, we see the reflection of the cop cars, lights and stuff on the gates. We see a lot of darker drabness in this area. In the background, we see the city bridge in the city and stuff like that, which is really nice, a really nice touch. And then of course we get this light up here that kind of shines on some of the enemies and stuff. Like I said, man, the details in this game is just crazy amazing. But there's not a lot that I can really delve into here, because I feel like I can't really do it any justice until we see it in action, as far as like lighting and stuff like that goes. But I'm telling you guys, like, this stuff is just very, like, there's so many little details here that I'm seeing, that I'm enjoying with these screenshots. Okay, so now we're getting into the crazy stuff. Now this right here, this is the reveal of the cop enemy who has a shield, it looks like. So now we know that we're going to be fighting cops in this game, and I'm actually really excited about that. Now, any seasoned Streets of Rage fan knows this design. Immediately we know where this design is from. In fact, we're going to zoom in on that right now. Yeah, any Streets of Rage, seasoned Streets of Rage fan knows where this design is from. It is ripped straight from the guy of Streets of Rage 1, the guy that used to back us up. So that's the question, is like, man, so now that we're fighting these guys, like, what is going on here? Are we like fugitives? Like, has the city legit turned on the heroes again? Like, are we getting like something of a expansion on what happened in 3? Because yeah, we're actually fighting cops now. Now look at the details within like the gloves and this shield, for example. I'm thinking the shield is actually coming out of his watch here. This guy's watch, doesn't the shield look like it's coming straight out of his watch? And the shield is like, it's transparent, so it's like this nice little laser shield. We're in the future here, guys. we're in the future here. But again, this is yet another example of what I'm talking about as far as like modernization. It doesn't take much to make a modern cop design. And here we're looking at one of the cops from the first game, and all they really added to him was the shield, and it puts things in context of what timeline we're sitting in here. Like, we're 10 years later, and technology has apparently boosted. Hopefully, I really, this is one of the things I do hope, is that they don't play it safe with enemies. Like, go crazy, man. Have us fighting mechs. I don't care. Streets of Rage 3 had us fighting kangaroos, more ninjas, cross-dressing sailors, robots, Terminator clones, and all kinds of stuff. Like, just go nuts. Like, give us some crazy stuff to be fighting here, man. And I'm hoping, like, looking at this cop here, is that, you know, we are going to be going into some crazy stuff, because, you know, I'm going to assume that there's going to be some kind of like thing going, like, where the shield blocks from certain attacks and stuff like that. I'm betting on it. I'm betting on it happening. Now, as far as the stage goes, it looks like we're in one of the we're probably in the chief's office or something. Maybe we broke through that door back there. You see the door broken, pretty much broken off the hinges. Maybe you break through that door and we fight somebody in here. You also see in the background yet another view of the city bridge. So maybe this isn't too far off from the dock stage that we just seen in the other screenshot. I'm trying to take a guess of like how the order of the stages go. If I were to take a guess, I'm gonna say that maybe that office that we saw in the screenshots before is leading here, and I'm gonna guess that maybe the order would be this. It would be the street stage going into the Asian town, then going into this, like going into the office, into the city hall and stuff like that, and then later on we start going into stuff like the docks and whatnot. Lots of details here. We got trophies in the back. I'm thinking that this is the police chief's office. I mean, look at that view, you know. Who gets that view other than the police chief, you know? I'm thinking this is the police chief's office, and maybe he's not here. You got the golf clubs in the back. You got these trophies all over the wall. These awards. You got that map in the back. All kinds of stuff, man. It's amazing, like how much detail they put in these stages. But I can't. And then of course, like right here in the front foreground, you know, you got like a small smidge of a desk in the foreground here too. So it's like, man, they even went as far as to like make it look like there's a camera sitting here on a desk or something, you know. Really cool stuff. And of course, we had the last screen here. Now I could not place this stage, but we have a closer look at the Snake Lady, which after looking at this, I am actually assuming more that she is the new Elektra. Outside the Electric Snake, we're probably looking at something like a redesign of the localized version of Streets of Rage 3 Elektra here, which is cool. I'm actually pretty happy about this. That means that there are two different whip ladies, but they decided to actually do something really cool with Elektra. That was actually one of my gripes with 3, is that Elektra just wasn't as cool as she was in 2. In 2, if you noticed, like in the graphics, she actually has a bionic arm. Like the whip is part of her arm, which is really cool. But then in 3, it's like she has a standard whip, but somehow it electrocutes you anyway, you know. So I was kind of disappointed with that design. The stage that we're looking at here, though, is a train yard. I don't know. I don't know where to fit this in the stage transition. Like there's no hints here as to when and where you get to this stage compared to the other stages. But I'm gonna assume that maybe this is where you fight Elektra here for the first time, if not earlier in the game. But it is a train yard, and this is next to it seems to be like this is like not on the outskirts, not on like the exact outskirts of the city, but like close to it, probably on the other side of the bridge. But you notice there's like a bunch of vaults over here too. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, man, these stages, man, I don't know. There's a lot of beautiful things with these stages. And of course, we're gonna zoom in on Snake Lady here. So here we go. Here's the face-off. I'm gonna assume that Snake Lady doesn't have any other frames or anything. That's probably why Axel's not attacking her, or you don't have her actually doing any attacks or anything like that. She's probably very early in development right now. But notice that, you know, she pretty much looks like Streets of Rage 3 Electra, you know, with the darker skin tone, the cardigan, the pants and heels and stuff like that, of course. And then, of course, she has a snake, which is basically a replacement for her whip. And her hair is like orange, reddish, kind of cool stuff. People have actually been nicknaming her Rihanna because she looks like Rihanna. She does actually look a lot like Rihanna. It's kind of funny. But yeah, there's a weird little. There's some pottery in the background too. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about this stage. Like, it looks nice. It is definitely something new, but I can't place it. I don't know where to place this stage in the order that I'm trying to make up in my head here. But either way, like, it looks nice. It's nice to see Snake Lady here. You see the reflection on the buildings and stuff. More lighting magic with this lamp here on the right corner, lighting up the area where Snake Lady is standing. Actually, I didn't even go into like shadows and stuff, but look how detailed the shadows are, and their shadows, and where it's like going off of, like, yeah, there's a lot of little stuff that you're probably gonna notice. In fact, going into since it's the last screen, we're gonna be going into like the actual gameplay GIF. Yeah, you're gonna see some details that I was talking about before. Okay, so man, where do I even begin? Okay, so first off, this is clearly I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the first stage of the game. This is the street stage that we're talking about. As I said before, looking at the ground and everything, I think that that area with the boxing shop that's in the underpass is a later part of this stage. We see Pine Pot, the classic Pine Pot sign here. I guess it wouldn't be Streets of Rage without Pine Pot, right? From what we're looking at here, though, this is probably is a revisiting of the first stage from 1. But it looks like everything's just legit, just closed down. Like, this whole area is just abandoned, more so than it was in 1. 1, it seemed like it was just more people were cleared out. You know, people weren't trying to be around during that time. This just looks like the signs were left on and everything, but everything has just been closed down. Now, this actually kind of the weird contrast there is that these neon signs are still flashing and everything, but the store itself looks like it's actually closed down. Like, you see like all these bags and stuff inside. You see like the shutters and stuff are broken on it and everything, but the neon lights are still flashing. That's kind of weird to me. But you also notice, again, going into lighting here, there's some light just moving around here as well, and flashing around the enemies and the characters and stuff. Like, when Blaze walks under this sign, you see that the sign's like flashing, like it's flashing on her head, you know. Same with the enemies and stuff like that. And of course, there's the reflection as well in the puddle here where Axel is walking. You can actually see his reflection, which is another really cool thing. In the background, like in the further background, you see all the buildings and stuff scrolling as well, and it's like this really red, dusky look. So that's the indicator that we're starting. This whole thing is starting off in the night, in the evening, probably going into a morning thing, like it does with every other iteration of Streets of Rage. Typically, what happens. On the far left side, you see like another dunk sign. You barely make it out before it scrolls forward, but it's there. going into the actual gameplay here, we do see that we have multiple kicks in the air. If we were to zoom in on Axel here, so yeah, if you zoom in on Axel here, you'll see that we actually have multiple kicks in the air. So it's we're gonna be able to do aerial combos, aerial raves and stuff from the looks of everything. Now the thing that's kind of bothered me here, and I don't know if this is just a thing that's kind of placeholder, is that when Axel does his snap kick, it only hits once. In fact, you're kind of missing the transition frame where he does the knee. There's actually three attacks in that one attack. There's the knee, there's the actual kick, and then there's the retreating knee. But here he's canceling from his knee press, which is a jump in attack, into the snap kick, and it just goes straight to the snap kick. And I don't know what the ordeal with that is. And then of course he went into his forward kick as well, moving backwards. So I'm trying to figure out like how do they have this set up? For one, as you can see, he turns before he jumps, and then when he's in the air, he can turn mid-air as well. So we see that jumping is very much like Streets of Rage 1. I don't know if you have aerial control. I just know you can turn around. It doesn't look like you have aerial control because he's not moving forward when he turns around. If it were like 3, he would actually move forward while he's turning around. But we don't seem to have that right now. But you can turn mid-jump like Streets of Rage 1. And of course, like I said, we have the 3 kicks in the air. So I'm trying to figure, how does this snap kick work? Because snap kick is supposed to be a neutral thing, and he's already in motion when he does the kick. When he does the jump in attack, he's already in motion. So maybe we're looking at like you have to hold up to do the snap kick instead of it being a neutral attack. And maybe he has a different neutral attack entirely. That's just going to be my guess. Now you'll also notice that he grand uppers Big Ben out of the air after Blaze here knocks him back at him. That's the thing with the juggles that we were looking at. Now I'm actually looking at this. I am a little bit happier about the juggles. It looks like the juggles have weight to them. I do hope that Big Ben has a little bit more weight added to him though. Make it a little bit harder for you to juggle like heavier enemies. But that's kind of what we're looking at for as far as juggles and stuff goes. It doesn't look like it's something that's going to be easy to do. Now, speaking of Big Ben as well, if we scoot this over just a bit, there we go. Big Ben has a roll, his roll from 3, and it actually goes into a stopping animation. Now I don't know if the roll itself is invincible, but I'm going to assume that point where he slides, when he slides across the ground, is his point of vulnerability. So hopefully they have armor on the roll, or maybe make it invincible and just make it where you actually have to attack him in that frame. Because, I do want the enemies to be challenging and stuff. But that's one of the little small details we noticed from the gameplay. Now, also something I didn't really comment on. I don't really see much here. We already seen Axel's Dragon Wing. But I do notice that the Dragon Wing launches signal forward on the way down. Like at the end of the circle, it looks like it launches him forward. So I kind of wonder if that's going to knock him into any other enemies. It would be cool if that's the case. Okay, so we're going to slow it down a little bit more so I can talk even more about the details that was going on about earlier. As I said before, looking at Axel, in fact, we're going to freeze frame as soon as he jumps at Big Ben here. Big Ben rolls at him. He turns. See, now there's an actual. We actually see that there are turning frames as well, which is a nice little detail. Yeah, we see Axel about to jump at him. Big Ben already stopped rolling before he even got to Axel, though. That's a little weird to me. Like, I think that Big Ben should probably be rolling a lot further than that. And I don't think that that's somebody speculated that this right here, his frame he's doing right here, is supposed to be a kick. I don't think that's the case. I think that's him just stopping in his roll, like he's slowing down, and that's supposed to be a point of where you can actually attack him properly. And then of course Axel jumps at him, high pointed to jump. Then he goes right back down into his knee press, his jump in attack. Now he hasn't even hit Big Ben yet. We see Big Ben actually standing here in his normal idle pose. He's turned around at this point. Then it connects. Now that's a little strange that it's connecting there. You see there's like a big gap between him and Big Ben. But this attack boxes, working and doing their thing. Now there's there was a pretty big pause delay there. See, notice Axel turned. Here's the point of the kick right here, where that should have hit. This should have connected right here, and it doesn't. This connects, and it launches Big Ben in the air. So, yeah, that kick, the frame's actually there. It just doesn't connect, and this kick is supposed to connect twice. But yeah, we see it launches Big Ben in the air, and then Axel goes into his front kick as he's moving backwards. Now, as I said before, he was already in motion when he did the jump in attack, so it's a little weird that he's doing a snap kick, which is supposed to be like neutral. I'm thinking that maybe when you turn your character around, if you let go of the button, if you let go of forward or back or whatever, it stops you, puts you in a neutral pose, and you can do your neutral attack. That's going to be my guess. That's if this attack doesn't have like a different input entirely. And then of course he goes into his front kick, which misses. I don't know if Big Ben is actually able to be hit at that point, or if he just simply missed the attack. I actually like this little pose. I like the keyframe pose for his kick attack. It actually looks pretty cool. But those are like the three. Yeah, his three standard attacks from 2. So I kind of wonder like if he has a new neutral attack. Now you're probably gonna notice something here with Signal too, since we're frozen at this pose anyway. Signal's right here about to slide. Now at first I speculated that Signal is not invincible, or I speculated that he isn't invincible now because her attack's about to hit him. See, he's actually sliding right here. Now I don't know what causes and of course she hit Big Ben out of the air, so this is where you see the juggle's actually working, doing her thing. Also, for all you pervs out there, the panty shot. We do see Signal here sliding, and Blaze has not hit him yet, and so they're not connecting with each other. I'm not sure like if Signal is just invincible at this point, and there's a certain point where he's not invincible. I don't know, but this isn't connecting yet. But it connects right there. It connected during his slide, so we know at some point during his slide he's vulnerable outside of the startup. So that's something that I also wanted to point out as well. Then of course she connects with Garcia back here, BT, and then of course Axel knocks Big Ben right back at Blaze again with his grand upper. Blaze knocks him right back at him again with her fireball. That was another thing too. She started off with her fireball here. Knocking Garcia backwards. I think it should knock him like further back. I think it should be probably a little bit lower. But her fireball animation is actually pretty cool. I'm not a big fan of the walking cycle though for Blaze. It looks very strange to me. And of course she has her turning pose as well. Signal getting ready to do a slide again. Only to fail. Now, notice something here with Garcia. We're going to go back. Did you see that there? Did anybody peep that? The back end of her special move knocked him into the ground and makes him bounce upward. So we do have ground bounce. As I said before, I was saying it when we were looking at her new grapple move in that screenshot. We have ground bounce here. You bounce right off the ground from her special move. And of course, we're going into Axe's grand upper too. That's one thing that I kind of missed there. So I kind of wonder if it's gonna hit on the ground as well, like his grand upper. Like that'd be cool if you can knock enemies off, like any bouncing enemies off the ground from his grand upper. Also notice that the enemies get up really, really quick here. And then of course the two enemies cross. Now there's another thing as well, and you're gonna notice this as you see Garcia bouncing back. Now there's the bounce frame. When he hits the ground, he bounces off the ground and whatnot. So this is when she does her special. Again, look at the ground bounce with him. So we have ground bounce. You have your standard bounce back, where he just bounced off the ground a little bit, and then, like I said, when she does her special move, knocks him right into the ground. So we could be looking at something like where certain special moves will knock enemies straight into the ground, like allowing for a little bit of a ground bounce, and you can pretty much pass them off to the other player. But those are like the small little details that a lot of people probably completely missed when it comes down to like what's going on with the gameplay. So far we have, of course we have juggles confirmed. We have ground bounce. We have multiple attacks in the air. We have the turning jump from Streets of Rage 1. Again, not entirely confirmed if we're going to have aerial control like in 3. Because like I said before, if you look at Axel, you'll see that even while he turned around, and he has to press, I think, I'm going to guess you would have to press forward in order to do the last kick that he did there. So if he was pressing forward, that means you don't have control. We don't have aerial control. He's actually still moving in that same direction. He's just able to turn. So we may not actually have aerial control. Also, you'll probably notice at the very end when Axel does a dragon wing, he hits a little enemy that's sitting off screen. And it looks to be Garcia, a normal Garcia. Matter of fact, I'll probably stop it and see. Yeah, he knocks him off screen. So now this is what I'm wondering about, because they said before that enemies would not be able to move off the screen. Now the way it works, Streets of Fury, is that when enemies are on screen and you are hitting them, they're not. I don't think they're gonna bounce off. They don't bounce off the screen, but they don't move outside of the screen. They just fall. Like they fall normally, but they don't move off the screen. So But what we just noticed here is that there is an enemy that was off screen that got hit, that got knocked right back off the screen. So maybe when they're off screen, they get knocked right out of it. They still get knocked right out of the screen if they're on there. You can still hit them right off screen, but when they're on screen, they will not be moving outside of that area. That's what I'm thinking, and that's just my guess. So we'll have one more look here, and Blaze hitting him with the fireball. Big Ben doing his roll. Axel countering with his kicks, and then we're going into the juggle. Apparently, like I said, it then hits Garcia with the ground bounce. Axel juggles him back. Blaze juggles him right back at him, playing volleyball with Big Ben over here. So yeah, from what we're looking at so far, the gameplay actually does look fun. Just from looking at it, we're gonna get hands-on with it next month, so we'll actually see how it feels to play. But I have a lot more confidence in the game now after looking at this. You know, as I said before, we see what we're having here. Ground bounce is confirmed to be there, so there will be certain attacks that cause enemies to bounce off the ground. Juggles, of course, work the way that they did in Streets of Fury, but not as untamed. It seems that you're gonna have to, do these juggles properly in order to pull them off, because that last kick, like if we were talking Streets of Fury, that last kick would have connected, and it didn't there. So you're not gonna just be doing attacks in the mid-air, and it's just gonna automatically connect and all that stuff. And then of course, like I said before, Big Ben having his role, I'm thinking that it's going to be invincible. I'm thinking Signal's slide isn't invincible anymore. That's what it's looking like. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that regard. Yeah, that pretty much does it for this podcast. I just wanted, like I said, I wanted to recap on everything that happened 2018, as well as going into what we're going into 2019. Hopefully, the next podcast, if things go right, it's probably just gonna be a couple weeks from now. I don't know if I could do the weekly podcast anymore, considering everything that happens with all this stuff. But the next podcast is probably going to be talking about the PAX South build of Streets of Rage 4. So yeah, be sure to tune in for that and looking for news and stuff. I am going to be posting some news updates hopefully soon about the website and how much stuff we're going to have done, hopefully by February. But that's it. I am still trying to get over this cold. Winter sucks. But anyway, enjoy you guys' 2019. I look forward to seeing you in future videos. Peace.